I'm a diva.
I'm a diva. Why? Because life's too short to blend in.
Don't take my kindness for weakness, as I don't suffer fools gladly. Who says you can't have a wise head, maturity, and sensuality?
If diva means giving your best at everything, then yeah, I guess I am a diva.
I'm a show-stopping diva, and I'm still ready to conquer more dreams.
Thank you for joining us on Brit Divas, a sofa talk show that tackles everyday issues from lifestyle to beauty. In Diva Chat, we will cover everything from fashion to passion, makeup to breakup. And then later, join the Diva Debate, where one lucky audience member will get the opportunity to select today's hot topic for our divas to sink their nails and teeth into. We also have a special guest, a musical icon, a singer, songwriter, DJ who's just released their latest single. And let's not forget this week's competition, where one lucky viewer will be in the chance for winning an exciting prize. One thing I would like to start with today is Queen M. You and I were in the toilet just before the studio, the new gender-neutral toilet.
Oh, here we go.
Which you have very, very strong views on.
Yes, I have so many questions about this. Look, many years ago when I was young, you know, the girls, we would go out and it was like, you know, on the dance floor, it's every woman to themselves. You want to be the hottest thing out there. But in the bathroom, it was different, you know, in the bathroom, and I'm sure the men in the audience, I'm sure a lot of people can tell you, women never went to the bathroom alone. You went in droves, a flock of birds.
Always in twos.
You'd come out of the bathroom, you need someone to help you zip up. You know, we'd gossip about a guy we saw by the bar. You know, oh, I need a tampon, have you got one? You know, and it was a safe haven. We were unashamed, and you can be unashamed because you're with fellow women who know what you're going through. You know, you've been there, we're all together, the gossip, the makeup, the helping each other out. And I feel like the gender neutral bathrooms is taking that away from me. They're taking that away from women. I'm just gonna be frank and just plain out and say, people who are gender neutral, they don't wanna be defined by either male or female. They just want the best of each world and cut out whatever is the negative, and that is unfair, because how are you gonna grow?
I don't agree with that, because I don't see anything wrong with that at all. Well, say for example in Paris, right? Well, it's been like that forever. It's always been a neutral gender toilet, and everybody just get on with their business. Nobody bother anybody. It's fine. And when you say that we shouldn't be ashamed of talking about those things, I'm not ashamed. I can talk in front of guys, I can talk in front of girls. What's wrong with
it
that?
bothers me. I mean, I'm not gonna ask my friend, you know, for a tampon in front of a guy. This is private.
Well, it's modern day now. Things change, you know. We have to learn how to include them as well.
I guess there's points when you're adjusting yourself and you do need to unzip, to, let's say, fix a pant line or something.
But there's always a cubicle.
There is, but then there's not always the space for two girls to go into a cubicle. I mean, what do you think?
Well, firstly, you know, what grown-ups want to do is entirely up to grown-ups, but I do think we shouldn't be bringing children into this. Now, I was reading yesterday in schools, they're actually taking away the name of girls' schools, and it's going to be non-binary. I think children have a lot to deal with as it is. Many different things are going on in their minds, and I don't think we should be confusing them with this non-binary gender-neutral thing. Gender neutral is only 6% of the country, and I don't think the other 94% should have to have gender neutral toilets.
This is where my concerns come in. I don't have much understanding in this area with issues like, you know, abuses around children that are quite common now. What does a parent do when their child wants to go in a gender neutral toilet?
Abuse or anything like that. It's literally about their minds having something else put into their mind.
When kids are growing up, you have like so much going on in your life. I mean, I was messed up when I was a teenager.
And everything.
Because
and then you've got
so much going on. And now on top of that, I have to figure out if I'm a boy or a girl.
Yeah, that's insane.
No,
that is
gender
actually
neutral.
insane.
You've got to look at it this way. For example, I'll give you another example in Thailand. It's very common there to have homosexuality, yeah? So therefore, even the children at school, they already have a boys' toilet, girls' toilet, and a neutral gender toilet for them to choose, so they can go and choose which one they want to go to.
But there's a choice there, isn't there?
Well,
So
I mean, can I just like...
Do children really think that they're gender neutral?
Well, they are brought up
Really?
they brought up in
I'm sure they change when they grow up,
No,
when they get older.
They are brought up in an environment where they don't look at it twice, they don't think twice, because it's a normal thing.
I don't agree with that at all.
They don't discriminate them. They just treat them as one of
Are
them.
you talking about
with
in Thailand? I think there are a lot of transgender.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably
because
why
there's a
that's
high percentage.
So that's
why?
But that's
That
also,
could be why.
they also have this very peaceful environment that people don't look at the others as anything different. It's just one of us. It's a human being.
But here also you've got a risk of people getting attacked in toilets.
Well,
If they're transgender and they're visiting the toilet.
I think the thing with transgender though, transgender and gender neutral, they're two different things. With regards to transgender, you usually are having a physical change as well, and those changes obviously change somebody physically.
Well, you see, only here I find it's such a big issue where, like, I've been in a sports coach background, right? And they always have a male and a female coach present at all time. But in other countries, it's never been like that. There's not such an issue. Nobody would even think about it that way. You know, that the children are not at risk as much as here. I don't understand.
It's not about being at risk, it's about confusing them. They're already confused with so many other things. It's not about being at risk. If I had a child, and I don't, I would not be happy bringing them up in a society that is calling it non-binary toilets. I'm sorry, I wouldn't agree.
You know what? And I do agree with you, Crystal. I think, you know, men and women, you know, we could live side by side, even though I really do think that women need a space, men need a space. However, you're talking about men and women, you know, sharing that space. But these people are saying they're not man or woman. And I think it's really easy to like confuse the two.
Where do you put the gay? Where do you put the lesbian? Where do you think they should go?
I think obviously that's biology. That's biology. That's biology. They know if they're male or female because of biology says. And as we were saying about the transgender, people actually have a physical change. And I've heard where people have a physical change and then they then become confused as to they're not happy in either worlds, let's say. So, but with regards to physical change, plastic surgery, I know you're an advocate. Does that change should it change someone just physically, or can it change them emotionally as well? I mean, what?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, you know, I like a bit of plastic myself. I think a little bit of plastic surgery is absolutely fine as long as it's done well. For me, it was more of a uniform. It was about my job. You know, I was a model 20 years ago, so I had to look a certain way, and I was in competition with lots of other people. So for me, it was about my job.
But did it make you feel good as well?
Absolutely. I had a little bump on my nose, which I had taken out, and it gave me a lot more confidence.
So what were you like before the bump?
I don't know, I just didn't feel as attractive as I do now. And
so it made a difference on your mental being?
Absolutely did, yeah, it gave me more confidence, most definitely. And I think it is your body and you should be able to do exactly what you want with it. So as long as plastic surgery is done in a good way and it doesn't look plastic, then I don't think there's anything wrong with it at all.
I think there's an element of addiction there as well, though, isn't there? I mean, I know there's a lot of cases of people, who've had plastic surgery, but they become addicted to it. And then the duty of care that surgeons have, they don't really tell you when to stop because the money's coming in.
Well, yeah, and they're surgeons you definitely shouldn't be going to. And, you know, there are lots of amazing surgeons out there now. There are also lots of really bad surgeons out there. If anyone wants to know any good surgeons, just come to me, because I know plenty. You know, and I'm not going to grow old gracefully. I'm 50 in 2 years, and I will not be letting things drop.
So what, I mean, obviously, if it'd be a whole different scenario if these options weren't available to us. I mean, I know plastic surgery has gone on for a long while, but if so much wasn't available out there, what would you say? How would you deal with growing old gracefully?
Word, I don't know. I dread to think. But I mean, when you think about it, women wear hair, they wear nails, they wear lashes. That's all fake as well. It's just a different degree of fakeness, isn't it?
Do you all have the same sentiment? Do you all?
Well, no, because I'm not objecting other people choose to do plastic surgery, but personally, I can't. I have a very strong keloid reaction to any cut and operation.
You look great.
Thank you
look
very
fantastic.
Much. I'm 53.
Doesn't she? She looks great.
To give us your secrets. Yeah, I will do. Keep watching. The thing is, I even had once I had a ear piercing, and I had a reaction with the keloid growth on the front and the back, and I literally have to have an operation to have it removed, and wore a clip on it for 10 months to stop that coming back. So for me, I would never go for that.
So it's more personal experience on your side.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, I rather see the society these days to be able to encourage people to feel good about themselves, the body, that you don't have to feel inferior just because you don't want to look a certain way. I mean, in Asia, they always go for plastic surgery, which I don't. And like, if you don't have one, then you're almost like they wouldn't even include you in any show business at all. Which is
absolutely terrible.
That's a lot of pressure on somebody who has strong views like yourself.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a Brit Diva.
I just feel so conflicted about the whole thing. I mean, my mom, when I was growing up, my mom didn't let me have a Barbie doll because my mom was so concerned about me wanting to be something that I wasn't. And she was always trying to instill in me that, you know, first of all, you're never gonna look like Barbie doll. Second of all, you're beautiful the way you are. But I feel like, I don't know, I think a part of me just feels like maybe I'm too young to have that opinion yet. Like maybe I haven't gone through enough in 30 years to like to know yet if it's it's like I feel like really conflicted because there's like two women that I admire, and it's like Kris Jenner is really open about her plastic surgery. Like she's been honest about it and she's beautiful. It's done so well. But then there's my mom. I mean, my mom is 53 and she's so sexy and she's never had anything done. So I just feel like let people be, you know.
But that's lucky for her.
That's
as
it, but
well.
that's,
if somebody
that's
looks
just
naturally and they're happy with themselves, then that's fantastic. But if you're not, there's absolutely nothing wrong with changing.
Well, that's what I mean. You know, just let people be. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
You look at how they spend the money for teenage girls. They actually can have plastic surgery or breast enhancement.
I think that's wrong. I think that's completely wrong.
That's the same thing, but they feel so self-conscious. But the money could be used in a much better way, don't you think?
But not only that, I feel like so I feel like the teenagers are like really too young to be doing this.
Because
look,
you're missing out your natural body, how
but
the women should grow into.
You're still growing. My face was still changing at 24.
Well, then we need to teach them be strong enough in their mind to not be bothered by these things. And you know what, for women, like I have a son who's grown up, and I enjoy the breastfeeding process. And I feel like if you do all these things when you were young, you will regret it later. And that all kind of problem can come up as well. What about if things go wrong, you know?
So far, touch wood.
Yeah, I know.
They haven't.
But you got to the good ones.
It's not about looking different. It's about staying my age. I don't really want to get. I want to stay as I am now, if I can, for as long as possible. And that's what it's all about for me.
I was going to say, we must remember, though, with regards to plastic surgery, in the medical field, so it does make a massive difference. So it's not all fake. And one thing that definitely isn't fake is that we have a break coming up. So, see you after the break.
I'm a diva.
Welcome back. So, divas, it's now time to get serious. We have a question from a diva in our audience.
So, divas, my name is Carol. Hi. With the recent proliferation in both politics and the entertainment business of sexual assault accusations, why do the divas think it takes women so long to come forward?
Wow, that is a serious question indeed. What do you think, ladies?
I think it's fear, being ashamed, of course. And I think a lot of women blame themselves that they somehow made that happen. They egged that person on for it to happen. They blame themselves the way they were dressed. There's a lot of reasons, really, but
I actually think it may be that a lot of actresses, especially because I know that with the Weinstein case, that maybe they feel they won't be believed. And also, who really wants to be remembered as one of those girls, one of those women that were attacked? I wouldn't want to be. And I have done a bit of acting myself. Many years ago, I went to a casting, and for Eyes Wide Shut, actually, Stanley Kubrick's last movie. And I was in the room alone, having the casting with the producer. Looking back, if something had happened in that casting, I'm not sure I would have told anybody, and that was from a 22-year-old woman. I don't think I would have told anybody. Now, completely different. I would have punched him on the nose. I really think it's fear, and also maybe feeling slightly ashamed as well.
I mean, personally, I don't think for one I'll ever stand for that. One, I'd be angry that someone has felt that they could put me in that position, and not just that, I'd have to stand up because I wouldn't want it happening to somebody else. That's true, yeah. And but that's me. And obviously, I guess some people are in a position where, as you say, they're not going to be believed, or they really, really want that job. Finally, in front of the big wig, you know, the guy of Miramax, and they're like, "This is my chance. I can't blow it." And so they.
But I mean, with that case, it had to take one strong person to come forward before the others actually followed suit.
Actually, recently something happened to me as well, and on film set, and this person is somebody I work with as a colleague, but not directly. He's not a cast. He's actually a stuntman, but he's a friend of a friend that we kind of gather together and meet up. And out of nowhere, he was like harassing me with all those messages and all that, and then he starts wanting to send me all these pictures, and then he said like, could you send me your pictures? I really love them. And then the next thing is like, I'm thinking maybe you would like to do the modeling and so on. I'm into photography. And then the next thing is like, he's like, I can send you some of the examples of my work, and it's all everything you see. I said it looked like pornography, really, and it went on and on. It was horrendous, and yeah, this was like within the same evening. I met this person the first time. And
what have you done about that?
In fact, we all went out in a group in a dinner, and he was actually brought into the group from a friend who were kind of seeing him the other day. So I never expect that to come from him because he was brought into the group from a friend. And then I said, what are you doing? Are you trying to hit on me? I said, first of all, you're in a relationship. Secondly, you come into this group as the friend of a friend. And then he said, yeah, I'm hitting on you. And I really like mature women or whatever. It's crazy. Anyhow, I did go back to talk to my friend and tell her about it, but then he went really mad. He had a go at when he heard about it. He then come back and had a go at me, and he was threatening me. He said, do you know what? You shouldn't go around talking about it. It's a very small business, and you be careful. And, you know,
he was worried about being discredited.
Yes.
Yes, it's a very small business. You should be careful.
Well, the thing is, like, he's saying, like, I got my movie coming out now in October, and they're all big, and the next movie already sold for 10 million, so you really should be working with me. And he kind of like, one is trying to bait you into it, and then on the other hand, is trying to threat you with the, to scare you, to keep quiet and not say anything. Next morning, I literally had to pretend that I was tired. I need to go to bed. I need to hang up. I can't talk anymore. In fact, even I was still awake, but I didn't want to go online in case he was harassing me again. First thing in the morning, hello dear, are you super horny? So you can't get rid of these people. They don't take no for the no.
But they need to be named and shamed.
That is why when you did start talking about it, it was he felt he was being outed.
And then he tried to put some guilt onto you.
Well, I'm talking about it now, but I'm not pointing out this person's name, but the thing that while I'm still doing the job, it's hard for me to go head to head to try and take a war with him.
But Crystal, do you realise by not saying something, that actually could happen to somebody else, but maybe someone younger, more naive, more vulnerable. You need to tell somebody about that.
The main point is, like, now you're talking about it. But back then, what was it that stopped you?
To take it to the step where I take him to the court and make the case of it. Yeah. But I would warn my colleague at work where they come in contact with the person.
I want to know who this person is.
Yeah, we'll have a quiet word after.
Please, yeah.
Keep him away from Victoria.
Keep away from me, definitely.
I'd like to pick up on something that Duchess mentioned earlier. So you said about people coming forward, the first person coming forward, and then
it's like a domino effect.
A domino effect. Yeah. Do you think that a domino effect can discredit that person's claim or strengthen it? Or does anyone else have any thoughts on that?
I think it can strengthen it, actually, because when one woman comes out, she has to have a lot of courage to come out. Because she feels that no one will possibly believe her. I mean, if it was so long ago, why are you mentioning it now? When many other women come forward, that can only strengthen that woman's argument or her claims against what had happened. I think it's fantastic that women can come together like that. Of course, there have to be genuine cases. Mm-hmm. You do hear about people who aren't actually got any genuine claims. I mean, I know that's quite rare, but yeah, I mean, it it gives that person hope.
But don't you think that, I mean, it's happened to the same, even president can have all these cases, all a long track behind?
We do have a lot of women who work in these industries as well, and it takes one good woman to help you push your claim forward and channel it through the right ways.
One of the biggest issues here is, and I absolutely agree with you, it takes one woman to be that courageous. But I think we have to get really deep down into the psyche of the society. So you're coming forward, you're giving the other women who were attacked the bravery to come forward, the backbone to come forward as well. And then as a group together, you're strengthening this claim. But I feel like the issue goes even deeper. Why did they take long to come forward? And how is that changing? Now, from that first woman, that's the why and that's the how, all in one go. The why is, I did not come forward because I was a young manager and I did not want anybody to discredit my hard work as someone slept with me and that's how I got the job. Why did I not come forward? Because my culture told me that wearing little skirts, being chatty with boys made it my fault. That's why I didn't come forward. The how is from the first woman. The first woman coming forward is now changing society. But we still, I think the biggest issue is we still have more to work on with society. But destigmatizing the why. Why did we not? And it's not the women's fault.
No,
and
it's
yes,
not.
yes, if we spoke, we could have prevented.
But yeah, they could have prevented it because so many cases from years ago.
But that's not their fault
out now
that they didn't come forward.
Yeah.
But that's not their fault that they didn't come forward. The fault lies with society telling us that, you know, when I was little, my mom said to me, she didn't encourage me to be naked, okay? But she said to me, a woman should be able to walk down a street completely stark naked, and that gives no man the right to touch her.
I have to agree with that.
Yeah, I do.
My mom made sure. But yet still, several years ago, somebody inappropriately grabbed me at my workplace, and I still said nothing until several years later.
But you weren't naked.
And I wasn't naked.
Wow. So there you go.
And it's all because I'm a really chatty person, and I guess he took it. And do you know what? I'm not giving him excuses.
Did you blame yourself when that happened?
I did not blame myself, but I was frightened because I was a really young manager, and I was already up against older men. And you know, as a female, you have to fight for your
It's still very male dominated.
At that time, when it happened, did you just ignore it?
The first time I didn't challenge it because I was sitting by the fire. The second time, my elbow right into his Adam's apple.
But what are we going to do about stopping this in the first place? I mean, there needs to be harsher punishment.
For sure.
I know some people would say we need to
I agree. There has to be harsher punishment.
Cut it off.
Do this. Cut it off. Exactly. Something has to be done.
There definitely needs to be an example made, because people that are taking these liberties need to know that they can't.
Exactly. It wouldn't happen in the first place.
They do that in Thailand.
The punishment was
it's
harsher.
often the case that where the lady would sort it out and send it off in a balloon.
What? In a balloon as well?
In a balloon. The guy goes to sleep, the next thing in the morning is gone.
Wow. I've never heard of that before. That's fantastic.
And that one doesn't spread over here, does it?
Sorry. Well, years ago, I went to a networking event, which is in a 5-star hotel, and this is like embassy and all the director of company and all that. And there was this older man. He was like a big boss of a company. The first thing he started to say hello and this and that. The next thing is that he got his hand up under my skirt. Oh. And they were like, what are you doing? And this is a business, you know, in the afternoon. It's not even like an evening function. It's like afternoon networking. I talked to the other people at the function, and I said this, and then the thing is, like, these people are in a very predominant position in all the things, that they're on the top of their world and the business. It's very hard for you to come in and try and to just say something, because they worry about their business, they worry about their reputation, and will keep you quiet. They won't even let it go anywhere. So you are fighting towards a brick wall. Okay.
One person I would like to put the question back to is Carol. The question that you asked us, are you able to share your own opinion on it?
Yeah, so it's quite a difficult question, I think, to answer straight off, because listening to your, each of your thoughts, it comes from different positions. You've got different cultures, different environments. Moving forward, I think we need to create, let's say, a consistent environment so that we can work on that. So everybody understands what the starting point is, but based on what you said, we've got a long way to go, but we are moving forward.
Thank you, Carol. Join us after the break, where next up we have a special guest.
I'm a diva.
Welcome back. We now have our special guest, a multi-talented singer-songwriter and DJ. Here she is.
I want you to understand how I feel, yeah, deep inside. You made me feel what I need to feel, yes, in my heart. Your love and feels so good, and that's what takes me high. Your love, it keeps me alive.
Sonique!
Hi, ladies.
Hello.
Oh, wonderful. Hi, everyone.
Check out that gown.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Stunning, stunning, stunning. How are you?
Well, you know, being around you, I knew I had to kind of step up my game, you know. You ladies look amazing.
You haven't changed.
I've been frozen. I got like this chamber at home, just freezes me. I come out every 10 years.
Oh, wow. Tell us about that.
One question I'd like to ask, as soon as I found out that you were going to be the special guest, I thought, I've got this question. I needed to ask you, when did you realise that you wanted to be a singer, and how did you get your first break?
Oh, good question. I actually didn't want to be a singer. I wanted to be an interior designer or an athlete. So, so it wasn't the road I'd chosen for myself, first of all. But some people kept saying to me, oh, you've got a nice voice. And they just kept thinking that everyone else had a good voice as well. This kept happening, and then someone would say, oh, you know, you should do a song with me, you know, because I think you've got a really nice voice. And this is only from hearing me maybe singing a record on the radio and singing over it, you know. And that's how they're hearing me. And then eventually I went and joined a band. I was in the youth centre, and the woman who was running it, she said, oh, you got a nice voice. I'm still thinking everyone's got, you know, crazy. And I'm 16 at the time. And she then turned around and said, there's a band, a reggae band, that needs a singer. So I go and turn up, and then they say they don't have any songs. I have to write the songs. So that was the beginning of me being a songwriter-singer.
At 16?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I went on stage for the first time at a place called Dingwalls in Camden Town. It was a terrible dress. Oh, thank God for the voice, though. But, yeah.
It's amazing how you just fell into that. Like, you wanted to be something else, completely different.
Completely.
And that just fell into your lap
it was
type
like
of thing.
that.
Whereas there's some people who have to work extremely hard.
But that was what grasped your interest. When did the break come?
That took a long time. I mean, I was doing a lot of demo tapes. I'd already signed a deal. I did a song called Let Me Hold You that came out in the 80s. That got to number 22. You know, and I just kept persevering. I just kept on and on, because I was really enjoying it. That's the first thing, you know. So now, you know, I've got a taste of it. I'm like, oh, I like this. You know, I really was enjoying it, and it was just keeping me out of trouble as well. And it made me really focus. So it took a long time, and then I did a bit with S Express as well. I did a bit of singing with them, and I wrote an album with them. And then I went on, and then I ended up DJing. And it was the DJing that was the bit that actually broke me. Wow. Yeah, so it wasn't actually the singing at all, it was the DJing. And then after the DJing, I said, oh, let me write a song. And I was so lazy, I didn't even write one. I did a cover version of Spell on You. And it did really well. And it wasn't really expecting it. But now I'm at the top of the game of DJing. And DJing was really so underground at the time. It's not like what it is now. And that was basically the beginning. And then we was panicking, like, oh, what are we going to do next? And I'd already written Feel So Good. So I was like, oh, here's Feel So Good. Do something with that if you want. And that's how it happened. And then the story goes on because then they kept doing all these different mixes and I wasn't really happy with it. Then I did my own mix, and that was the one that you like. Well, the ones that everyone,
wow.
you know, the one that everyone.
I know, I do like it. I love it, actually.
That's what everyone likes. So.
Just do it yourself when you want it, right?
Well, do you know what I mean? I always say, at least you can blame yourself. I can, you know, I don't want to blame somebody else. I'd rather blame myself and go, okay, yeah, you're messed up.
Not just that, the feeling you must have got when everyone else was doing these mixes on your track, and then you've gone out, you've stuck your own track out there and mixed it yourself, and it's blown up. You must have felt fire. That must have been something.
There was a lot of fire going on at the time. There really was, because it was a lot of things happening for me. It was that, it was like running around the planet, it was going to America. You know, America's saying, oh, we think you're amazing, oh my God. You know, you're just like, thank you. You know, you just can't even get your head around it fast enough, you know? So it really took, I had to really take a break after all of this happening to actually grasp what had actually happened, because it was too intense at the time.
And at that age as well, it must have been so much for you to comprehend.
Yeah, I was quite old. You know, when I actually made it, I wasn't a spring chicken. I won't tell you the age, but I wasn't springing.
Well, I Googled you yesterday, so
Yeah.
I know how old you
Well,
are, and you
I
look
was
incredible.
Thank you.
Have you ever thought, I mean, is plastic surgery something that...
I wouldn't say no to it.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't, because, you know, we women, you know, we like to spruce up ourselves and look a bit, you know, we don't want to... So, yeah, I would say, yeah, I would do.
You would do it,
yeah,
definitely.
I'd do lift things up a little bit.
When the time's right.
When the time's right, you
Yeah.
know, or if they got a juice that I can put on my face and it lifts it all up.
Oh, well,
by
that would be
itself.
easier,
That would
less
be lovely.
painful. Yeah, I would definitely do that, for sure.
But I haven't gone there yet.
So what are you up to now? Have you got anything like in the pipeline?
Well, what I decided to do was go into the studio. I built a studio at home, and now I am doing a few things for film scores, and very, very quiet now. I do more like, I still DJ, I'm still all over the place DJing, I still love. No, I do love it, but the travelling's a bit difficult. But yeah, I'm more in the studio now. I just got a song out called Melody, which I did with a guy called Mario Picato, which is coming out, or it's actually out at the moment. So I was just testing the waters, and then I'm going to bring something out in January, but that's a bit of a secret. Well, not now.
Before we divulge any further, let's have a listen to Melody.
Okay.
That's a gorgeous location. Where did you sit that?
That was in Malta.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Dingley
so
Falls
beautiful.
it's called. It's such a beautiful place.
I thought it was your back garden.
Well, my back garden's pretty nice. No. I wish my back garden looked like that. No, that was a beautiful location. But let me tell you, when you got where you can park the car to actually go from the car to that point, was very, very treacherous. And I had like this little suitcase, and I actually need to put that on Facebook. And I was struggling with this bag, and the heat is tearing me to pieces. And it's like, then there's no shade anywhere. Like, absolutely, well, you're just like this. And it just got to a point where I was just like, I was like, what I do for my craft. I mean, no one realises this looks beautiful, but it's hell.
We realise.
Absolute hell up there. It was wonderful.
Anyone to carry you up there?
No. Those days are over.
Where did the inspiration come from, Melody?
Melody, I'm always kind of, usually the inspiration is always, I asked Mario, we were DJing somewhere together, and I've always been a bit of a fan of his. So I begged him, you know, can we do a record together? Give me the music and I'll just figure out something. And I usually listen to the music and listen to what the music is trying to tell me. And the music was just like, it's what I was feeling at the time. I can't even remember, you know, I'll be honest, I write so many songs, you know, and it always is about what I'm feeling at that point, you know, it's just that moment, it's just like, boom, this is exactly what I'm feeling, you know.
It's always good when you go with your heart.
Yeah. And then, you know, that moment comes and it's gone, and you're just like, oh, what's the next one?
Speaking about moments that have come and gone, I find you a woman in your own right. I think that you've just kind of gone about and done your own thing, and I really admire that. Is she from my country as well?
Oh,
just saying.
Trinidad.
Trinidad's in the house.
I'm actually working with a friend of mine, another friend of she's from Trinidad as well. So, but she's working with the youth of Britain and stuff. So she's really inspiring, and it's good to see how well she's doing. And yeah. Trinidad, we are all right, you know.
Hell yeah. But look, you're really strong, and you're really incredible. And something that you have overcome is breast cancer.
Yeah. Oop, oop.
Yeah, and I just, congratulations. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I really love to see women conquer and just, right, next.
Yeah.
And I feel like I see that in you. You're like, I conquered it, let's move on to the next one.
Life's too short, and especially when a situation like that happens, it really reminds you. So you're just like even more. I was like that before, but now I'm even more so like that. You know, it's like I haven't got time. I was on a boat with, not mentioning a name, but she was very famous, and we were on a boat. We was in Barbados, and she wouldn't dive into the water. And I was like, why are you not diving in the water? And she went, I had breast cancer 8 years ago. I said, well, I had it last November. I mean, and it was like, I couldn't understand it. It was like, well, can you just like do this now? But she was like, oh, I can't put my arm up anymore. I'm like, yeah, because in your mind, you've made yourself weak. You're stronger than this, come on.
Yeah. It's all in the mind, isn't
it? It is, definitely.
So you're going for it all. I mean, I understand you've got a gig at Christmas, the Rewind in Hartlepool. Can we have some information about that?
Yes, actually. I have some free tickets to give away.
Yes.
So, yeah.
We from the same country, let me just remember.
It's in Hartlepool though, so it's quite a way.
So it's in Hartlepool. How did you get involved in that?
I'm like, it's a 90s rewind, and at the moment, the 90s is making a big revival. So every gig I seem to be doing, it's massive 90s gig. So this one, it's got like the Venga Boys and sort of like the Big Brothers and all that kind of stuff. I'm not actually singing there, but I do sing when I'm DJing, so I will be singing effectively and DJing.
So in order to gain access to the competition, visit Brit Diva's website. Thanks, Sonique.
Oh, more than welcome.
Thank you for visiting
Lovely
us
to be
today.
around such gorgeous, strong women. Yes, we're gonna live forever.
Thank you. That's all from Brit Divas. Please do visit the website, send us your comments, and do let us know what you'd like to hear the Divas discuss next time on The Sofa. Until then, take care. Bye.
Beautiful, what our lives have purpose.
feeling down. And that's what takes me high.
I'm a diva. Say it loud, say it loud. I'm not ashamed to say it deeply. I'm a diva. Say it loud, I'm not afraid to say diva. Say it proud, I'm not ashamed. Show the world what exactly we're made of. Beautiful, but our lives have purpose. Determined, intelligent, vivacious, ambitious, no we cannot be tamed. I'm a diva. Say it loud, say it proud. I'm not ashamed to say it deeply. I'm a diva.